Hello, everybody. Welcome to this week's edition of the CRUBCAST, your weekly dose of controlled chaos here in podcast form. On today's episode, we have myself, Kevin, joined by the three sexiest co-crubbers on the face of the earth. We have the dancing man himself, Nico. Hello.
What's up, gamers?
We have the dancing man himself, M.
Hello.
And we have Trav. Trav wasn't dancing, so I can't say that you were.
What's up?
Yeah. So today's topic is an interesting one that I'm going to throw to you, Trav, right away, because you were the one that suggested it. But it's actually similar to a Patreon question of the week that we were looking through our list. If you're not familiar, we do have a Patreon where we will every month you can put in as many questions as you want. We will read them off on air, answer them either here or in a Q&A if it's not in an episode itself. And this was kind of the same topic as what we were already going to hit on. So today's Patreon question was from the Crazy Even, who had asked, can you recall a single series, game, movie, book, etc., that you attempted to get into by way of one of its spin-off entries and found yourself completely lost or confused in its story? And that's similar to what you had suggested for this week's episode, Trav, because you had suggested digging into what it's like to get into a series much later than everybody else, getting into a long-running series, and how do you deal with that omen, that overbearing, like, oh, there's an intimidating factor to it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and a lot of it that was inspired by Nico playing Metal Gear Solid Delta. I was very excited to see him getting into that series, but it is also a very intimidating series, and I am very eager to poke his brain about that. But to answer the question at hand, a spin-off that I got into that left me completely confused, I don't know if I actually have the best answer for that, but I will keep talking anyway. I've been recently getting into Warhammer 40K and learned that the 40K part of it is a spin-off of the original IP. Didn't know that. I thought that was just the branding. And to say I'm lost in it is an understatement. I've been trying to get into it for about the last month, and I still barely understand it. There's so much lore going back, 40 almost years now, for just this one spin-off. That's not even
40K years, actually.
Yeah. 40K years, actually. Yeah, there's a lot of lore there. Thank you, Nico. You're a valued member of this community. Can someone kick him?
Shouts out.
But no, I've been trying, but there's so much. There's books, there's movies, not movies, but like shows, maybe, I don't know. And just so much. And that's not even talking about the main game that you are, that originally spawned all of this. That is just a tabletop strategy game that I barely even understand.
What's interesting about Warhammer is that it's, as far as I understand, correct me if I'm wrong, it's a lot of it is mainly lore. So you need a lot of the lore to understand the source material as you get into something, but you can kind of still throw yourself into some of it, even if you don't know the lore, and figure out piece by piece with what they give you, right?
Yeah, like the thing that really got me into it, I've been playing a lot of Space Marine 2. And for the most part, it's a pretty self-contained story. Like knowing the lore probably helps a lot, but you can still get the general vibes of the story there, and it's arguably a good place to kind of wet your toes a little bit, get into it, try to understand the broader story that's going on. Yeah. I really wish I had a better answer for a spin-off that got me into something. I've always been kind of picky about being like, nah, I don't really want to get into the spin-off. I want to like watch the main thing. Like I guess maybe because I started with the Deus Ex prequels, maybe that could be one. But I didn't necessarily feel.
Deus Ex is interesting because I was going to say, Em, you're relatively familiar with Deus Ex, correct?
Yeah.
So it's an interesting one because there's only a handful of games, but it's such a dense couple games that I can see. Yeah. I know why it's intimidating. That's why I haven't really gotten into them besides like whichever one was on PS Plus years ago when I did that series.
I watched Trav's video.
That's all I can ask for.
On them.
If you watch Trav's videos, hit the like button here. Not there.
It's true. If you didn't watch it, what hit
I think having an ImSim in general is going to be kind of intimidating, right? Like you're looking at something that represents 30, 40 hours of gameplay, and you're looking at, 4 of them. Yeah, it can be intimidating to want to get into that at all. Sure.
And I know this isn't speaking of ImSims, but I have one that I can throw to you for an example that all of us have dealt with, just to kind of get into, not the spinoff part that Even had asked. I think the spinoff thing is a little bit, that's a little bit of a tougher question. I don't know that I have an answer for that.
I have one now, but I didn't before we started.
Okay.
Well, let's ignore his point.
But yeah, I don't care.
Me neither.
And so the one I was going to say as far as a series that's intimidating is one that we've talked about a decent amount on Crub, which is the Yakuza / Like a Dragon series.
Yakuza is definitely my answer as well, yes.
Because the first thing when this topic came up was I thought about how, you have not played Yakuza because there are so many of them.
Yep. Yeah, that's exactly true.
And same, like, that was why it took me so long. That's why it took Nico a while. Trav, you played Zero on and off for like 10 years. Like it's a lot, and Zero is also a lot because that's the one that everyone says is the starting point.
Can't say he's wrong.
That's the entry area, but it's a 40-hour game, so it's still a lot to suggest. But what's your thought process on the Yakuza inertia that you have, Em?
Yeah, so boy, it's really hard, right? Because I look at Yakuza and I say, everybody I know loves this game. And all of the memes, and boy, I wish I could understand who that guy is, and wow, that seems really funny, right? Like, I want to be a part of the community, and I want to be a part of the in crowd, and I want to know the jokes, and I want to know the things. But then you look at it and go, there are like 15 of these games, and each one can be 150 hours long, and I just don't have that, And I understand people who really, really are willing to put in the time and the effort to go through the whole thing, but I don't know that I am.
That's fair, and I've told you off air a couple times. Like, the good thing about Yakuza is only a couple of them are that long. They're just long if you do side stuff. Like, one is 12 hours. It's a digestible game.
The main game is not that long.
2 is the same. It's like 15 hours. 3 is pretty short. And 3 might even be getting a Kiwami. This will be very outdated by the time that this goes live. There's a decent chance that the day of recording, they are announcing Kiwami 3. So they did leak it. So
what does Kiwami mean?
Extreme.
Extreme.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's their remaster, remake-ster of the first 2 games, and now 3. What were you going to say, Nico, as far as like Yakuza, and then what was your example as far as spin-offs?
Yeah, Yakuza, dude. So the thing that's really, really nice about Yakuza is that the first game itself is sort of standalone and very good, right? So like you can just play that game and like be fine if you just want to experience a little of it. The idea, so for brevity, what I'm thinking here is that Yakuza, yes, has a lot of entries, but it also has a lot of natural stopping points, I think, as well, which make it less intimidating to me than, something where like everything has continuity and it all ties into each other, right? Like, obviously, this all has continuity, but if you play 1, 0, and 2, arguably you have an excellent like trilogy type of experience. And then I don't know, I can't speak for the rest of it, Kevin, but it seems then like 3 through 6 is sort of another natural stopping point, and then
it's interesting
7 and 8, right?
Because a comparison I've made lately is I think that Yakuza is similar to, of all things, the Ratchet and Clank series, in that each console generation has its own sort of arc of stories for the most part. So the PS2 games 1 and 2 / Kiwami 1 and 2 are fairly contained experiences. 3 still follows up with the fallout of 2, because 2 takes place with the direct fallout of what happens in 1. Like, the whole plot of that game is what happens in 1, what's the fallout of that. And 3 kind of goes off, and it's sort of a beach episode where it's more of a character building thing. But there are things in 3 that, even as I joke about it being a beach episode, are like fairly important for 4 and 5 and 6, to be fair, as a PS4 game. But it's similar to like Ratchet, how like every console generation, they kind of like said, okay, here's a fresh start if you're not into playing all these games for the lore that doesn't necessarily matter. With Yakuza, it matters more because characters will come back, obviously. But yeah, it's a weird one. But the PS3 games kind of have their own thing, like you said.
Yeah. And then my example to answer Evan's question was Bioshock Infinite.
Okay.
Being kind of a spin-off of like the Bioshock series, right? Like obviously it's not quite as long-standing as an example like a Yakuza, but like Bioshock Infinite was the first one I played. I'd be damned if I can tell you much about it other than like kind of the plot line, right? But it was the first one I played. And I had started playing Bioshock 1 for a recent book club. Shouts out book club.
What is book club?
And would you like to field that question?
He literally asked you. Imagine being asked the question and immediately just being like, could someone else do it?
That was a hot potato if I've ever seen one.
That was so good.
Book Crub is our forum where we allow you, our Patreon members?
Anyone who's a CRUBScriber. So you can be on the Patreon. You can even be on the Twitch if you want to join us at twitch.tv/CRUB_official, where we stream most of these podcasts with pre and post shows, a bunch of fun streams. Nico's been playing Hollow Knight lately for the first time.
Really
he doesn't
enjoying
play
it.
2D games. Or you can join as a YouTube
and next
member.
week we'll be making him play Stalker 2.
Oh, God. So either way, if you're a CRUBScriber in any fashion, we have a special Discord room where we go through and play a game once a month or so and talk about it with you in a voice chat and hang out for a bit. Yeah.
Yeah. Typically a free game, a game that you can play, very playable. Yeah. So the reason, they thought that I didn't want to say it because I didn't want to say it, but I didn't want to say it because I didn't know the details.
Well, that's why you just ad-lib it and wait for someone to correct you.
Yeah.
I never really liked Bioshock 1 all that much, I'll say it. So I did enjoy Infinite more than 1. Just because 1 has that notorious core game design issue where they had to add the arrow at the very end of development so that you knew where the hell to go. And that never felt...
Ken Levine's not the best at that.
Yeah. I mean, there's a reason it's been like 15 years since his last game. Yeah, I don't know. I enjoyed Infinite for what it was. It also felt like the material I clicked with a little more as far as the themes, which we don't need to go into here. But 2 is more of a spin-off than anything if you go into Bioshock, which is an interesting one. I know, Trav, you've played 2, right?
A little bit, but I know people that worked on it.
Oh. Em, did you work on it?
No, I didn't work on it. No, but I have played it.
Okay. What are your thoughts on that one as far as like kind of being it's sort of a spin-off despite being numbered to 2?
Yeah, I mean, right, like they decided to take the core kind of concept of BioShock and do the thing that I really like to see in like movies and games, which is now you get to see it from another point of view. I think it's a really cool way to do a story like that. I think it's cool to do that kind of in anything. I guess it's almost Rashomon-like, right? And I really enjoy seeing the same series of events from different protagonists. You know, Half-Life's Blue Shift did that, and Opposing Force did that, and like all of the Half-Life stuff did these sort of different looks at the same story. I thought that was very
Sonic
cool.
Adventure 2 as well.
Sonic Adventure 2, unironically, yeah.
Also an ImSim. Continue.
Yeah. And so you know, there's sort of a cool way to look at it. That being said, I don't actually like BioShock 2 all that much. I think that, you know, the DLC really does make it a lot more enjoyable, and I know that there are some people out there who will fight me to the death for saying that I don't like it that much. But it just never clicks with me very hard. I find it to be a little bit less
But you get to be the big
skillful.
man with the drill on your hand.
You do, yes. And it just sort of, it felt I don't know, less skillful in a way because you're more powerful. And I understand why they chose to do that, but it just kind of bounced off of me.
Yeah.
Thinking about this question, though, I think there's an interesting, from sort of both perspectives, both from Evan's perspective on the spin-off, which I think my answer might be Fortnite, because that is a spin-off and nobody thinks about it.
That's a good
What's
point.
it a spin-off of?
Fortnite Saved the World.
Yeah, literally, the Fortnite that we know, Nico, was a secondary game mode to a much different game.
Which is fun because if you want to go into a deeper bit of history, this is entirely unrelated, but it's because of the original Fortnite that we got a game like Sunset Overdrive in the style that it did have, which is what led to the Spider-Man games from Insomniac. Because they were going to pitch a game that was essentially Fortnite, and then Fortnite was pitched at like an Xbox showcase, or revealed at an Xbox showcase. And so Insomniac was like, oh shit, well let's pitch our backup game to them. And it was like some card game or something. And Microsoft was like, yeah, okay, cool. And then like 2 months in there, the guys who were directing Sunset Overdrive were like, hey, actually, we don't want to do that. Here's the other pitch we didn't do because of Fortnite. And that led to the open world engine that Insomniac has and the Spider-Man games. And you get to feel like him.
You get to feel like him. For real. He just like me, for real.
I don't have a good segue back to what you were saying, Em, so just pretend this is a...
Understood. Yeah, so, Fortnite being a spin-off of its own little thing, a lot of people don't realize how quickly they did that. The Save the World game was a total failure when it launched. It was an absolute, complete failure. And they managed to create the Battle Royale version in 8 weeks, right? They just quickly ripped everything they had and threw it all together because they saw PUBG have its success, right?
Yeah.
So Fortnite is maybe the most successful spin-off of all time. It's made, I don't know, $40 billion now or something.
Wow, that's more than I'm making a year.
Yeah, me too. And I think that's sort of one of those things. What's interesting about the question from Even, though, is if you were to look at it from things that are other media, right? So instead of looking at it from games, you look at it from the movies, books, TV shows type thing. There was a show I recently watched called Ballard. It's on Amazon. It's one of the Amazon originals, and it's part of the Bosch universe. But I've never really watched Bosch because I'm not a big fan of propaganda. It just doesn't click with me to watch that kind of stuff.
Like RoboCop.
Like RoboCop. Yeah. So the inside joke here. So I'm not a huge fan of NYPD Blues or Blue Bloods or any of that kind of stuff. I always end up watching it and seeing the cop beat somebody up and go, that man is committing a crime against this man's civil rights. You should be arrested. And that's not really how you're supposed to sit and watch these type of shows. It just doesn't work.
Yeah.
But Ballard is part of that Bosch-iverse, and instead follows a cold case detective who is trying to solve a serial murder, which is the type of propaganda that I do enjoy because I think homicide cops should exist. I think that's a good use of our police force. And so,
crazy idea,
right? I'm a big fan of that one. We should have less murders. I think that's a good idea. And so Ballard, for example, is something that made me enjoy the Boschiverse, which was something I wouldn't have enjoyed because I'm not a fan of these sort of rogue cop mentalities. And there's other things like that too, right? Like there's often spin-off TV shows where they become much more, I guess, sort of interesting. One of my favorite is Frasier, right? I don't like Cheers at all. I think Cheers is incredibly boring. You watch it and you're just like, wow, all these people are terrible people, right? But I can fall asleep to Frasier just fine.
I always forget that Frasier's a spinoff.
We should make Nico watch the Joey spinoff of Friends. Not for content, just make him do it.
I sure. You're gonna say Frasier. We start a Frasier cast.
Yo, Frasier Castamon, we could do it.
Yo, we do Frasier Castamon.
It would join Podcastamon next to our library of watch along podcasts we have on the Patreon. Hundreds of hours of content. Patreon.com/ Crub.
Yes. There's all sorts of stuff like that when we start looking at other media, though, right? Like, I think we've all seen one of the best shows of all time, and it's a spinoff, and it's called Better Call Saul, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, that's a spinoff, and it's way better than Breaking Bad if you haven't seen it. You know, it's incredible.
The fact that
really
it's
good.
close, like that's the thing to me, is like it is the best prequel show of all time. It's like the Godfather 1 and 2 of TV in terms of how did they do it twice so successfully. And the fact that, unlike with The Godfather 2, I'll say, the fact that Better Call Saul has its strong argument to be at the exact same level as Breaking Bad, even though it does rely on Breaking Bad a little bit for some plot nuance, if you believe you should watch Breaking Bad first. The fact that it's close, to me, makes Better Call Saul better.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, just what a wonderfully well done show, right? And it's an example of that kind of a thing where the spin-off property is maybe not confused. Actually, I guess I threw myself off the question here entirely, didn't I?
You could find yourself lost if you started with Saul. You could definitely.
You could.
Yeah.
You could. But I didn't. So, just to go back to the question, attempted to get into one of the spin-off entries and found yourself lost or confused. Boy, yeah. I mean, I think that with media in general, there's a lot of these, you know, and they do tend to be a part of these bigger sort of franchises, and you don't even necessarily know it. You know, you don't need to know that Frasier is a Cheers thing, or even that House of the Dragon is a Game of Thrones thing to enjoy that. Better Call Saul is
that Spider-Man,
fully watchable.
Spider-Man's a Marvel thing. Did you know?
It is, yeah.
There's your thumbnail.
And Spider-Man, it's a Marvel thing.
Yeah.
Right? Like, I don't think you need to see any of the Star Treks in order to enjoy The Next Generation. I don't think that you need to, you know, have watched, Deadpool to enjoy X-Men, right? Like, I don't think that you generally need this. I do think there's some properties where it's helpful. For example, if you were to want to, for some reason, get into the Star Wars stuff today, I think that, you know, or Marvel, as you mentioned, basically any of the Disney properties, they leverage their core stuff so strongly that if you do miss something, if you don't know something, you just can't get into it at all.
Yeah.
You know, the Marvel, I don't know, phase 1 through 3 stuff going up into Endgame, if you didn't watch every single movie and TV show, you didn't notice something. Like, they would absolutely throw something at you where they're like, oh, and here's this character who's a main character, and we've never heard of them, and they're not, you know, we're not going to explain where he came from. We're just going to do the saw you in Cleveland thing, which, you know, like, yeah, it's a crazy thing in that, and I don't enjoy that. I didn't enjoy that at all. I think that's really, I'm not going to watch any of the current Marvel stuff, you know what I mean? Because I'm not going to go watch 2 entire phases of bad Marvel TV shows to be able to watch a movie.
And that goes to the crux of kind of what our version of this topic already had been before we saw Evan's question, which is the inertia of getting into something. Like with Marvel, there is an inertia at a point where it's, okay, I do have to watch, 20 movies to really get it all. Some movies are standalone enough, but to get the greater picture by design, you're supposed to be a super fan. And,
Yes.
you don't really get The Mandalorian quite that much if you haven't seen other Star Wars properties. It's that sort of thing with specifically Disney. But that goes to an example that, Trav, that you and Nico were going to talk about, because Nico has recently started Metal Gear Solid Delta.
Yeah. Well, also, in the spirit of like the spin-offs question, I can tie this in as well, is Metal Gear Rising Revengeance.
Oh,
that's a good point.
I don't know if I can do this.
No, I mean, like, because Nico, you started with that. I've had a joke idea for a video for years of Metal Gear Virgin starts with Revengeance and just plays assuming that they don't know the plot of the other games.
Which is like hilarious because that's what I did.
Mm-hmm. But you knew by osmosis, because we have a friend who would tell you everything in a car for like 2 hours.
Yeah. Right. We do have a friend who would tell me everything in the car for 2 hours, but also, you guys know me, I don't really retain a whole lot of like that type of thing. I'm like there in the moment, but like long-term memory, it doesn't like retain until I see it. And it basically coming in with Revengeance was very interesting because people gave me a lot of the context that I think I'm supposed to have at this point. And now coming in with Metal Gear Solid 3 Delta, like this game feels standalone as well. Like they both kind of like Revengeance feels like you had to have some context beforehand, if not a lot. Delta feels like I know more or less what's going on. I kind of understand it, at least to like from what I am understanding at this point. Yeah, and I don't know like if there is other context that I was supposed to have, but like without it, they did a successful job at making it like a good entry.
It's an interesting thing because 3 is the one that most consistently gets remade of the Metal Gear Solids. It got remade on 3DS. It got part of the HD collection, obviously. Delta is its own standalone thing as well.
Pachinko.
And it's because it is the Yakuza 0 element where it is that prequel that kind of stands alone, but there's, there's subtext that's there if you have played the other stuff. Like you can't remake Metal Gear Solid 2 without 1.
It is
interesting.
It is the earliest game in the canon.
Okay. So
it is arguably the easiest midpoint in a series to get into.
To hop on. Yeah. Okay, that makes sense. Because like it's funny. I've played the earliest game in the series chronologically and the latest game in the series chronologically.
Yeah. And the middle of the sandwich, don't worry about.
Yeah.
Just leave it.
No, I kind of want to make him worry about it.
I mean, you should worry. Just don't worry.
Yeah, just only a little bit.
Like be anxious about it, but don't.
Can you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's interesting because Metal Gear Solid, it's not an incredibly dense franchise, but on the surface, it's incredibly dense.
Yeah. That's what I've been gathering.
It's the Kojima factor, and I know you have thoughts on Kojima in a separate video that we'll put up in the corner somewhere. It's a series that Kojima's concept of deep is, if you look at it the way that I look at it, is a shitpost. Rather than trying to tell an actual deeply engaging story. Because if you look at it that way as a deeply engaging attempt at storytelling in a cinematic style, it gets progressively more insane, and there's no way that man truly believed that the whole time.
Yeah.
Easily.
And so there's a stigma about it that's the reason I haven't gotten into Metal Gear myself too much, because for such a long time there's this internet perception and aura around Kojima as like the auteur of video games, that everything he does is like multi-layered and deep, and there's so much to it, and there's so much surrounding context you need for everything that you consume in those series. And that's why Death Stranding became so appealing to me, because I was like, that's the best possible chance for a strong reset of Kojima's Kojima-isms. And it is possibly the easiest game in his ludography to digest. The first one is, because it's all relatively self-contained. They explain it.
I think you're right, but also you're insane for saying that.
I mean, Metal Gear Solid 1 is the other one. Metal Gear Solid 1 is there.
Yeah.
But
I mean, anything post MGS1. Yeah. I agree. But it's also like, man, if anyone else said that online, I'd raise an eyebrow.
And it's interesting because like it felt like Death Stranding 1 was distilled Kojima, and then I played 2, and 2 is distilled Kojima. That man went batshit in 2. And that's when I realized, he's shitposting the whole time. And so that makes me want to try Metal Gear by that virtue of, there is like, if you play it like a parody rather than like a serious thing, then you can appreciate the seriousness of it, which, to circle back fully, that's how a lot of people try and sell Yakuza, is that you come in for the funny and then you get hooked by the melodrama behind it. It's just that one very much doesn't take itself seriously, and the other, on the surface, very much seems to, while having that
soap opera
dichotomy, I guess, that dissonance between the gameplay moments of getting pissed on as Raiden and telling a serious story about the military-industrial complex.
Yeah.
It all makes sense to me.
Yeah.
We'll get you through that series, Nico.
Yeah.
Slowly but surely.
Yes, we will.
I mean, they're supposedly looking at remaking other stuff too, so I'm assuming 1 would be next.
That'd be sick.
Plus, there are the HD collections that you could play.
Yes. I don't know what they would remake other than Solid 1. Like, unless they keep doing the Big Boss lineage, they do the next
They
game.
do
in
Peace
the canon,
Walker,
which
yeah.
would be, Peace Walker, which
Peace Walker could probably use it,
really,
but
I guess
they remake Acid.
Metal Gear Survive.
I'm okay. Just remake MGS4. Just throw them all in.
4 is so funny because
4.
I don't. The only things I've ever allowed myself to see of 4, besides like a couple cutscenes here and there, or like the Snake saluting shot, are like clips. Pictures in magazines, essentially, like a couple gaming magazines, like Game Pros I had at the time, and I was like, oh, it looks neat. But I was like, I don't know what this is, so I didn't look into it. And I've continued keeping myself completely in the dark about it, because the more I ever see of like clips of it, the more I'm like, that is the least accessible game maybe of all time. Like,
it absolutely is. I'm sure you've heard this point before, but I'm going to say it for the sake of the podcast because it's hilarious. That game, it starts with almost like 20 minutes of cutscenes, and then no hyperbole. You crawl under a truck, and then once you get under the shadow of the truck, another cutscene starts.
I believe
that is all you do. You get down, you're standing, you're in your snake stance like this, holding your gun and your knife, and then you hold down X to lay down, crawl under, another cutscene starts. No exaggeration.
And
I did hear
believe
that there's an hour-and-a-half long unskippable.
Yes. So no. It is skippable. So it's more so. I told you this, but I probably worded it weird. It used to have the world record for the longest continuous cutscene in a video game, meaning like it doesn't require any player action, and it was at 71 minutes long.
Crazy.
What took the record?
I'm assuming something Death Stranding. I'm not sure.
There's
gotta be something.
There's no way it's Death Stranding, because Death Stranding, the longest cutscene is interrupted by walking sequences of the credits over and over again.
That's true.
Like Yakuza could be close. Like there's like a 40-minute Yakuza cutscene at some point, but that's like at the end of 5, I think.
That makes sense.
There are other games too that are kind of monolithically impossible to get into, I think. I'm going to give one example that I've never played for the exact same reason that I never played Yakuza, which is Kingdom Hearts, right?
Yep. That's a
I
good
have
one.
seen Kingdom Hearts,
Yeah.
but I know that you have to play, like, when you look at that thing, people are like, oh yeah, you need to play the mobile game to get the story. And it's like, what are you talking about? Well, you need to get through at least 700 missions in the mobile
shouts
game
out Sean,
to get
by
the
the way.
story.
Sean hasn't done this.
Yeah, Sean hasn't done any of this.
Kingdom Hearts is 100% less accessible than Metal Gear Solid.
Yes.
Like,
Yeah, I mean, there's so much, right? Like you have the 358
358
divided by
days
2
over 2.
358
Yeah, right,
days over
right.
2.
Like that thing alone is so intimidating. How could you ever possibly want to start it? And I appreciate everybody who loves these games, but I just don't. And I think that there's something interesting about it. In fact, I feel like we've talked about this a little bit in the past. I actually respect that these games do this because they are doing the thing that we all really say we want, which is that they are going all in, right?
Yes.
They're doing the plot, they're doing the story, and they're making a product that is for the fans. And sometimes that means it's not accessible, right? And I am okay with that. I am fine with the fact that I'm never going to watch any of the Marvel stuff, right? Like, I just don't care about it enough to put in that time and effort. I did watch Thunderbolts, by the way. It's fantastic. But it has no connection whatsoever, as far as I can tell, that you need
Nice.
for the rest of the Marvel stuff, which is great. Everybody...
Oh, you liked Thunderbolts?
Yeah, so everybody who likes Marvel says that Thunderbolts is really bad, and that's what made me interested.
That's insane to me.
right? Like
I
everybody
thought it
was
was
like,
amazing.
"Oh, I love Marvel. Thunderbolts is terrible. What a trash film." And I was like, "Ooh, the Marvel fans hate it. It's got to be okay then." And it was. It was great.
It's
It was
really good.
Really enjoyable.
Very good themes of self-doubt and overcoming your own anxieties about yourself.
Super enjoyable. And all I needed to do was just hear that Marvel fans hated it to know it would be good. There's things like that though, right? Like Persona. That's another game that I look at and I'm like, I don't have the bandwidth for that one.
Persona's interesting too, because like it is just a standalone game most of the time. Like 4's sequels are kind of sequels. 5 sequels are kind of sequels. There are those elements there, but it's like those are intimidating just on length alone, which I'll take that and I'll combine that with Kingdom Hearts and raise you like the Trails series.
Oh my god, yeah.
Or Tales of, either one. Because like was it? I think it was Trails of Cold Steel 1 has a character in it that is then accessible in all the future games via a code, because that character I think dies at some point. And it's like a major story beat. So you had to play the PS3 game, but then all the sequels were only on PSP. And it's just stuff like that. And it's to that end that I think Kingdom Hearts is more digestible now than ever, thanks to those all-in-one collections. Because, my God, can you imagine having to buy a PS2, a Game Boy Advance, a DS, a 3DS, a PS3, or I guess... No, was there a PS3 game? PS3 games were just the collections.
PS3 only had the remasters.
Yeah. Whatever the case, then you have to also play the Japan-only mobile phone game. Like, it would be so obtuse back in the day, and that's why I'm grateful that we're getting to the point that games are not commodified less, but you kind of know what I mean. Like, there's the Final Fantasy 1 through 6 collection that exists. And it's a little expensive most of the time, but you get to play with easy mode if you want to, where you just can't die, the first 6 Final Fantasies. And though those aren't a continuous saga, there is that intimidating factor. One of our friends has been going through them in order, given they had already played 7 and 10 prior to that, and 13. But they were like, I want to go through all of them. I've had that feeling with Dragon Quest before, but I know I'm never going to.
Sure.
Because it was so massive of games, and each one is 50 to 100 hours at points. And I appreciate that unless you are Nintendo, all of these games are made relatively accessible relatively frequently. So the Yakuza games, there was an all-in-one collection that was, you can get it for like $20 on Steam.
Yeah. Yakuza is one of the most accessible games out there.
Metal Gear now is the same way with that collection. If you struggle to get into Mario Galaxy.
Course, you did mention Acid, so.
Well, yeah, Acid. Thankfully, Acid's not technically canon, I don't think, anymore.
I don't know if it is or isn't, but I do
know.
Acid is its own timeline.
I think it was, and now it's not. But yeah, it's nice because like they're not only accessible in one package, but they're cheap. And that makes it a lot easier to swallow the risk of, well, I don't know that I want to play a 40-hour Ys game, knowing that they're all technically kind of connected by way of just the protagonist, and that they all like that series is you have to work miracles to get into that series in any order.
Yeah.
But you can now.
Any order.
Well, because it's like 6 is a prequel to 3. And 5, there's 4 versions of 4 that are different. 5 and the 5 remake are different, and I think have different implications on lore. There's stuff like that, and I'm probably getting a little bit of it wrong. But you can get them for like $15. It's accessible, and the hard to access Mario Galaxy series is $70.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of things when it comes to the sort of difficulty of playing them, right? That your Metal Gear Acid kind of exemplifies. But there's the Crystal Chronicle stuff. Kingdom Hearts has the GBA games, but it also has the mobile games, but it also has Mega Man, right? The Battle Network stuff, and Fire Emblem Heroes, and just kind of all these games that exist out there that are very difficult to do, mostly because of how hard it is to get some of the games. If they're the GBA game like Castlevania. If you really want to play all the Castlevania games, that one's going to be hard. You know,
you
that's
can
a
mostly
harder one to get
now, because thanks to all those collections they have, at the very least.
Yes, and that's what I'm saying. Thanks to those things,
yes.
you're able to do them. Because without them, it's really difficult to get into that. You know, imagine if you wanted to be the guy who knows the entirety of the Elder Scrolls. You know, like that sucks.
Yeah.
That's a really terrible, because one of those is a mobile game, and two of them are games from like the 90s, and you're not going to be getting into to that. I think maybe the sort of the, I don't know if I would say that it's the hardest, but I have been thrown into Pokemon, right? And I don't understand that lore at all, because I've never really cared to like try and follow it up. You know, I've watched the movie with you guys. We did that for one of the Patreon things, and
that is on YouTube now too. That is public, so you can watch that for free on YouTube. We made Nico and M watch the Pokemon first movie as M's first Pokemon experience ever, and they had questions.
Yes, there were a lot of questions, and I did not feel like I got any satisfying answers either. In fact, the answers just were more concerning than anything.
It was a good discussion, though. It was a good discussion.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so there's a lot of things like that where I think the larger the property becomes, the harder it is to kind of follow up on it, especially as it starts to go over years, right? Resident Evil, the new one's coming out. I hope it doesn't have a whole lot of attachment to some of the games that I didn't play. Like, if it follows Revelations, right? I'm just not going to know any of that.
And I guess what I'll say is a lot of companies have gotten infinitely better in recent years about treating every game as a soft reboot. For lack of a better term, making every game an entry point is a better way of putting it. So that they're more accessible, so that people aren't intimidated by them. Yakuza has been doing that pretty frequently by saying, yeah, there's other stuff, but we explain it. Don't worry about it. You know?
Yeah. I mean, one of the things that I think is sort of interesting, we're going to see here soon is The Witcher, right? The Witcher 4 is coming out sometime. And boy, that is a complicated lore to get into. And the gameplay, Witcher 2 is one of the least accessible games I've ever played. Right? It's just not an accessible game to get into. It is designed for some weird controlled hand that I don't have. This is like a 9-fingered, one-handed, you know, toadstool of a person who's playing this game. And the story is really, really complicated because it's, you know, 100 hours of story in each game. And then they follow on each other, sometimes immediately.
Yeah.
Sometimes more than 100 hours, too, because The Witcher 3, you know, that one with all of the DLC and stuff in it, man, that's like close to 200 hours of gameplay.
And you know what I'll say? This is going to turn into a quick grind my gears segment. I think that the worst part about getting into any franchise broadly is finding the right part of the fan base to listen to as to where to start. Because there's so much discourse every single time. There are people that say you should start with Final Fantasy VII regular versus playing it via the remake, you know, because the remake's technically a sequel. There's so much inertia just by like reading about these things can get exhausting. Like your point to Pokemon, Pokemon is accessible from game to game very easily. But there is an element of like, okay, which one is the best one to get you into some level of story and, for lack of a better term, lore. I don't know that I'd call it lore anymore. Just because like every game takes place in its own multiverse now, so they can do whatever they want. But like if you talk to different fans, they're going to give you wildly different answers on where to start. And it would just be so infuriating to get into most of any of these games nowadays, because there's that, if I ask you where to start with Deus Ex and you say 1, I got to play a 25-year-old game, and that's I don't know that I want to do that necessarily.
Yeah.
You know, that example.
That's usually my bottleneck right there, is that like the first game or the original game or whatever is just old as heck.
Yeah.
Yes, but sometimes those older games are good. You should start with the original Deus Ex.
If you like older games.
Idea.
No,
if you like older games, certainly.
No,
I don't.
not about if you like older games.
To be clear, my example was like my Mario Galaxy joke that none of you bit on. A joke. I didn't know that Nico was going to take it and be real.
Yeah. What are you going to do?
Yeah.
Damn.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm trying to think of like the ultimate example of the worst one to get into entirely, because Kingdom Hearts was up there. There's got to be one that's a multimedia series, and I don't know what it is.
Stalker.
That's the hardest. What is the objectively hardest series to get into of all time?
Like, yeah, it's got to be something that involves like Witcher style, like books and also shows, but not The Witcher, because the show.
It's does it count if like the media is also like kind of niche?
Yeah.
Well, okay. So I don't think this thing is kind of niche in that. Let me explain myself. Five Nights at Freddy's. Not niche in that it's like unknown, obviously, but like niche in the way that like it's you got to have a specific taste to like this thing. It broke out of containment, if that makes sense. And it's got the multimedia, it's got the books, it's got the it's got the ARGs, it's got the everything. Five Nights at Freddy's. The Five Nights at the Freddy's. Come on, dude. The Five Nights at the Freddy's.
What is the hardest franchise to get into? And you say the one for children.
Not only the one for children, not only that, but the thing where
books,
actually
though.
all of the lore is just made up by one guy on the internet.
They got books. Well, that's why it's difficult. They got books. That's why it's difficult.
They got children's books.
Oh man.
So I'm going to give you a good answer, though.
You know what else has books? Deus Ex, all right? Deus Ex is here for you and here to
regrets.
stay.
No regrets. That was funny.
I'm going to say that it's probably one of the like mangas, right? Like a One Piece or something.
Oh, yeah,
or,
interesting.
Or like a Dragon Ball or Ghost in the Shell, or what's the one about the creepy guy Evangelion? Is that
Evangelion is
Right,
a nightmare because they have an ending, then they have a different ending because people got mad at the ending. Then they have a whole series of movies that is just a new ending. Then they have, I think, a new series of new movies that is the entire thing plus a different ending. I don't care. I'm just not gonna.
Yeah.
No,
I mean. Neither.
Yeah, so I think that might be one of those things where it's incredibly difficult to get into. Maybe Gundam, because I know there's TV
Gundam's
shows
insane.
and movies. And,
Gundam's insane.
Oh, true. I was talking to one of our friends the other day about getting into Gundam, and he did give me some recommendations. But to your point, Kevin, it is difficult to know which sect of the fan base to listen to about some of this stuff.
Yeah. One Piece is a great example, although One Piece is more just the volume of it, I think. That's intimidating. Dragon Ball is an interesting one because then there's the debate of, do you watch the original? Do you watch the Dragon Ball Z? Do you watch Dragon Ball Z Kai? Do you watch a specific dub of Dragon Ball Z? Because there are like 47 different dubs of Dragon Ball Z. Not even getting into sub versus dub because, my God. Yeah, no, something anime or manga is a really good shout, and Gundam might be the one just because of how prolific it is. And yeah, no, it's a good shout.
I think those are probably the thing where it would end up being the hardest. I know there's, if we're talking about sort of Western modern stuff, something that's hard to get into is maybe the Fast series, because they build on each other and you do actually have to watch all of them, and but that's really just more that you have to deal with like a bad movie series more than anything else.
I guess like Star Wars too.
Star Wars. I mean, there's a lot, right?
Like,
but
if you don't know anything about it, it's got to be. I mean, but then again, they have clear starting points.
Yeah, Star Wars has multiple starting points. Like
Multiple.
Whether you like them or not is different, but there's a reason that like Pokemon,
there's
endured.
multiple on and off points. It's in Star Wars.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah, I mean, right? Like with Star Wars, you could do the original trilogy, the prequel stuff. You could do
you can watch them in that weird order that people do.
Yeah, you can do all sorts of stuff there, and I think that's sort of not the fact that you can watch the 9 Star Wars movies sort of in whatever order you want, and still get the story.
But
you, Nico, could not, but any normal person could watch them in just about any order, and still get the story just fine. Yeah, I mean, right? Like even the Marvel DC stuff, I think those aren't even that really kind of difficult to understand because they're really basic, super simple,
current DC
concepts, right?
Especially because everything is tying in together so far, but everything is also like they just explain what's going on. You know, like season 2 of Peacemaker is, there's pocket dimensions from Superman, and so the pocket dimension from season 1 of Peacemaker is now just canon to the universe of season 2 onward.
Right.
So like that's very easy to absorb. And it allows them to go so wildly different in tone, which is a thing that Marvel has struggled with. And so I'm going to give the current DC James Gunn universe credit because you go from Superman to a dicks out orgy at the start of Peacemaker season 2, like full on dicks out everywhere.
It's pretty cool.
I got to check this out.
And the tonal whiplash of that is like, okay, yeah, James Gunn's still James Gunn. He's edgy. He writes the same, 7 plots with different actors that he likes. And I'm cool with that. I don't care. But the fact that he's able to take that difference in tones and actually express the universe of the wider DC saga without having everyone have like Joss Whedon dialogue, that is nice.
Yeah, and I would say DC is one of those interesting ones too because since you have Batman, which has multiple franchises sometimes ongoing at the same time, right? It's easy, I think, to get into it and kind of look at those characters just as like the character and not so much the story. I don't need to see another, Bruce Wayne's father getting shot type thing. I don't need to see the pearls dropping. I'm okay with not seeing
his
that
dad.
And I think that's one of those where it's maybe if you're going to do these sort of highly multimedia franchises, right? If we're talking about how hard they are to get into, I think the sort of superhero DC-verse stuff is maybe the easiest on that scale because you don't actually... Yeah, it does not matter. You do not need to know anything.
Yeah.
You can go and watch the Penguin TV show and know literally nothing about Superman and all of that stuff, and it's perfectly fine.
Yeah, 100%.
That's just a good-ass show.
That's a great show.
Yeah.
Incredible show.
I had an example that I've since forgotten when you were talking about Star Wars of one that was, I think, easy to get into, but I don't remember what it was. So,
good.
Yeah, that was Trav. What's your hardest media franchise to get into? If you had to pick one,
recency bias is Warhammer, but I already said that, so let me think of another one.
I mean, even mechanically, Doom is like debatable.
Doom is difficult to get into, dude.
Because you start with 2016.
I don't want to hear it from you.
Yeah, no,
right? I'm sorry,
from you, Nico. No, but like, because like, there's the debate of do you start with Doom 1 and get it from the start, and then Doom 3 is wildly different anyway. Do you start with 2016 to get into the current trilogy?
Yeah, I mean that's fair.
Like, and then all 3 of this trilogy are wildly different in terms of how they build.
Yeah, and. Yeah, I guess if I was recommending it to a newbie, probably would have to address, like, hey, these 2 games have the exact same title, but you want to start with this one that came out
start with the movie
30 years later.
The Rock movie.
Yeah, start with the movie. There you go, the Dwayne Johnson movie.
No, watch the other one, Apocalypse.
Annihilation,
that's it.
Annihilation.
Yeah.
Start the Resident Evil.
The one that had the official Doom Twitter say we're not associated with this movie.
God,
is so good.
Start the Resident Evil playthroughs by watching all the movies.
Yes.
There you go.
That would work.
Boy, by the time
That's
you get to
funny.
the last Resident Evil film, it is in fact insane. It is such a crazy, crazy universe by that point because the world is gone and like it's impossible. This is why I firmly believe that you can make an argument that Monster Hunter World is part of, or Monster Hunter the movie is part of the Resident Evil universe. I think you can make that argument. Because if you watch it as Resident Evil movie 7, it just fits. It just fits.
Crazy.
Yeah.
I have a more serious answer than Five Nights at Freddy's. Five Nights at Freddy's was.
I don't think we need to hear it.
Yeah, so I think that's all of our time today.
Do you want to say, Nico?
I feel so bad now.
Do you want
one bit.
Nico.
So, what was yours, Nico?
Okay, I'll buy for the audience. Yeah, so it's Coheed and Cambria. They are a band where every single one of their albums, except for one, is like part of a continuity, and they only just recently like started kind of a new saga. But they have like 4 or 5 albums worth of music that's like in this universe of the Amory Wars that Claudio Sanchez created. He also has comics, like there's like multimedia aspect to it. It's difficult to get into. I mean, obviously, like you can just go and listen to the songs, like whatever. But like the story's cool. Like it's a cool universe. It's cool to get into. Gorillaz lore as well.
Nickelback also.
Yeah. Nickelback lore.
The Nickelback CD
ARG.
to CD lore is insane.
Yo, Nickelback, if you want an ARG made, hit me up. Shouts out Nickelback.
Don't.
Nickelback, if you.
And you, dear
And
viewer
you.
and listener, let us know in the comments or in the reviews / whatever podcasts have nowadays. If you're in the audio realm, let us know what a series that you've struggled with getting into is. Name, one that you've struggled with. Name one that you'd recommend despite being difficult. Name any issues or ones that have been easier to get into than you expect, because those also exist. I think Yakuza is the example to me. It seems hard to get into, and then once you play one, you are pretty hooked. So let us know what you think of those. Let us know what you think of Nickelback's ARG discography. And make sure to...
Thumbnail idea.
Oh, no. That's our way to get 1% click-through, is just put Nickelback ARG on the thumbnail of this. Good God. Let us know what you think as far as this whole topic goes. It's a very winding discussion we've had here, which is what we do here at the CRUBCAST. Every week it will continue to get worse until morale improves. So
we will become the what's the country that we're popular in? Norway?
We will become the number one source of
out.
propaganda in Norway.
Wait, no,
Shouts
wait.
out Norway.
Which one was it? What was like top 5 and what was it?
Norway.
It was Norway.
Was it Norway?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, shouts out.
We're gonna be the top podcast in Norway to get ourselves banned in the United States. You guys take a seat of medicine.
Easier said than done.